I really just, like, my biggest discovery was that there is a difference between the thing that you're good at and the thing that comes easy to you. So like, welcome everybody to the first episode of this vlog. Okay. Um, the vlog, I don't have a name for it yet, but it is about my artist journey. I want to document my artist journey. First of all, I'm Candace. And I thought, like, before I just jumped into vlogging, this, I've never even done this before, so I feel really awkward. But before I jump into my journey as a painter, I thought it would be good to like introduce myself and kind of talk about how I even got here in the first place, of like thinking of myself as an artist. So I want to start way back from when I was younger and then kind of bring you up to date to where I am now as a 37-year-old painter that just realized she was an artist maybe like 2 years ago. So this whole time of me living, I thought I was a writer. I am a writer, but I just solely thought of myself as a writer. And then like I started just making so much that I just thought of myself as a creative. But I think once I started painting, like consistently painting 2 years ago, that's when I was like, oh no, I'm an artist. I'm pretty sure I'm an artist. So I want to take you along with me on this journey to like becoming, just creating this whole lifestyle, living as an artist, and then letting you know how I got there in the first place. So that's my intro. Okay, I'm on my laptop. So I want to start with like early childhood. It's not gonna be long. I'm like, all right, so 1986, but really it's like, I feel like the things about me when I was about 8 or 9 years old are the same things about me right now, and that's how I discovered that this whole thing was kind of meant to be, and like just understanding like why I do what I do. I don't know, I think for everybody, if you kind of look at the things you were doing when you were a child, you can get a pretty clear picture. So I was like, from like 8 or 9 years old, like that's the earliest I can remember, like I have always wanted to be good at something. Like I just wanted to be good, which is so like weird that I think about it now, because like you should be just having fun as a kid, but that just is the reality. Like I always played sports, I was always making things, constantly reading, cutting up my clothes, my jeans, making my jeans into a skirt, fake sewing. Like I always had a disposable camera in my hand. And it's so interesting because like I never wanted to be a photographer. I just loved having pictures. And so like I was always taking pictures, I was always staging pictures, like I was always the one kind of choreographing like where everybody should be. That was like my favorite thing. I was obsessed with taking pictures. But to me it was just like, I just thought of that as normal kid shit. Like as a millennial, you just like you played outside and you tinkered with things. But I think like if I were to like describe the difference, I think it's that wanting to be good. And so like there's this picture of me in elementary in drill team. I think it's like I'm in like fourth grade, but I was a co-captain. And so it's like that picture to me just represents a lot of what I think separated what I was doing from just normal kid shit. Like I wanted to be good, I was into discipline. You know, I wanted to be perfect. Drill team is just like really about like being perfect, and it really satisfied me because everything had to be matching, everything had to be in sync, and there was a winner, there was a loser. And so there, like the picture just represents like me like striving. Like it wasn't enough to just do it and have fun. Like I wanted to be good. So like that is to me like a lot of my personality. But then when I think about like my home life, I think about like my mom was a picture framer and my dad was a picture framer. So like my dad had like actually had a picture frame shop on Crenshaw. I grew up in Inglewood. So it was like down Crenshaw, almost near Lamert Park. But my mom's picture frame shop, she got into picture framing because of my dad, but she ended up opening her own shop in our garage. And so like that was just like, oh, and they both only sold and framed black art. So like I grew up around like really like these like typical black paintings that you see all the time, a lot of Annie Lee paintings, um, figurines. I've probably seen every painting of Martin Luther King Jr. or like Malcolm X, like uh, I just have this kind of like catalog of black art that I again thought was very normal growing up, and I think it is for a certain type of black child, but the amount of it and the way that I was interacting with it, I think is different from a lot of other kids. And so I think also to the aspect of like having parents who are makers, who make things and you can watch them. And then like I also had to like work with my parents, so it's just like I understood how things were made. I think that's like a big aspect of who I am. So it's just like they're literally making frames by hand. They're cutting designs into the mat board. There are certain colors they're putting with other colors. And then like even as far as like in my house is just full of art. So it's like I'm seeing my mom constantly position things and like putting pictures in certain rooms and themes and all that like was normal to me. And it was so normal to me that I think like I'm just now connecting those dots as like a 37-year-old woman. But it's like, this is Mars, my cat. You'll see a lot of him. He's such a cutie boy. But so now like I'll take you a little bit through, but now it's like, oh duh, like of course I'm an artist. Like it's kind of my destiny. No, but like low-key. So like the painting thing though, like I didn't really get into painting or even like dabble with it until high school. And so like I was always mostly like into sports and like and I knew that I was going to college to study English. Like that was that. Like I had to take an elective and I like randomly chose painting. Like I think about it now, like I could have chose photography, I could have chose anything, but like you're just called to the things you're called to. But I would like copy paintings from my mom's garage. So just like and that's why I still didn't think of myself as good or doing something like revolutionary because I was copying. But now I know like that's the entry point like to art is copying. But I just thought like I'm finishing my assignment, you know what I mean? Like, but it was funny because we would have critiques and everyone would know what was my work because I would only paint black people, like figurative black art. Like that was all I really cared about. And so I really, really liked it. I was really intensely focused on it. But at the same time, I was intensely focused on anything I was interested in because I wanted to be good. So it's like, but there was a senior art show and you weren't supposed to be in the art show if unless you had did kind of like all 4 years in art, like you were a serious painter. But my teacher had liked my stuff so much that she said I could be in it. And I remember like vividly being in my room painting these paintings, and my brothers and my mom would come in, and I had like so much stuff to use because I was just painting on mat board. But I was just so into it, and everybody would come in and compliment me, like my whole neighborhood. First of all, I went to a very white high school, and that's why I think also my paintings stood out too, because it was like I think I was the only black person in my class, first of all, and then like it was funny because the art show, my brother and his friends came. Like I mean, like I grew up in Inglewood, so it's just like all these little black kids at Santa Monica High School, like at this art show. But thinking about it now is just so like fucking cool, like to just do something. Just to be able, like I've just from a very young age have just been okay with doing something. And I think it's like even doing this video, I just like woke up like, oh, I should probably start a vlog. And then like I don't even have a camera yet, I'm just filming from my phone. So I think that started like very young, and then just to like have that support. But like after high school, I went to college, and like I didn't paint again. Like I probably painted like a couple more pictures. Like I remember painting this painting of John Legend. I wish I could find it. And then painting this picture of my mom, and like that was that. Like paint, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be a painter. It was just like it was just something I did. But like now it's time to get into like my real love of like words and communicating and storytelling. And like now I understand like how it all comes together. But at that time it was very separate things to me, and painting just wasn't like, I just didn't think I was that good. And especially like being in a senior class with kids that were going to art school like after high school, like to me it just didn't compare, and I just didn't take it seriously. So I literally like did not paint after that class. So so then I think like fast forward literally all the way to 2019. So I'm saying I graduated high school in 2004. So like 15 years later, um I just became like kind of like um curious about different things, because I didn't feel like teaching was it. Like I was teaching and I was on the path like going to college to be a teacher, but that was because that was the only thing that I knew in terms of like liking writing and reading and words. I didn't really grasp the concept of like people like, oh, the people that wrote this, that's their job. Like I wasn't thinking that far. So as I got older, I just was exposed to more and more things surrounding writing, and I just became more creative in writing and got into screenwriting. And so like I started writing and then like making my own books. And so I think that is what really like turned me into like a creative, like seeing myself as a creative, because I had to think about like I had to design the book. Like I had to figure out InDesign, I had to figure out Photoshop, I had to figure out what color the cover was going to be. And then like even just talking about this now is so crazy, but I wasn't thinking that much about it. I was just like, oh, I want to make a book, I'll figure it out. And so like then I had to really get into like the marketing of it all, like selling it. And like again, I wasn't thinking about it as marketing. It just was the next thing. Like, oh, I want to tell people I made this thing, and if they want it, they can have it. Cool. And so it like that kind of helped me get my foot in the door in terms of like what I do for a living right now. So right now I work in advertising. I'm a writer, a copywriter, a creative. And so it's like all those things I was doing wasn't to get into advertising, but it lined up so well. And I think like being in advertising and coming up with ideas, creating, and just being a part of a whole process, I just, I really was like, I got to look at myself as more of a creative than just a writer. So anyway, I had like picked up painting again. So that's like 2019, but it would just be like here and there, and like I was so kind of caught up in the thing that I like thought I was good at. So I would paint like text. I would do a lot of text-based paintings, or like poster art and stuff like that, because I was just like, oh, I'm a writer, and like these are my words, and my word, at least words are incorporated. But I would do a lot of mixed media stuff too. But I think it was all the way up until like 2022. I was so burnt out from just like working through the pandemic. Like I literally like still to this day I haven't like stopped working since like all that happened. But it really got to the point where I was burnt out, and I think like burnout is really like, it's not when you're doing a lot of work. I think it's when you're doing a lot of things you're not necessarily interested in, and not doing a lot of the things you want to do. Look at this boy. Um, so I was burnt out in that aspect, and so me being the disciplined little 8-year old I am, I was just like, I'm gonna come up with a little exercise for myself, and so I'm like, I want to do like, I'm just gonna do like 20 paintings, and like throughout this time, I'm also like, I wouldn't say I'm like into fashion, but I'm really into like personal style. And I think the last few years I've really just kind of like honed in on that aspect too about myself. So I was just like, I'm gonna do 20 paintings and kind of write these little blurbs next to them. But I literally did, like, I just was using paint I randomly had around my house. I didn't understand how to mix colors. I was just kind of intuitively doing things. It's so crazy to think about now that I'm kind of understanding more about color theory. It's just like, damn, I just kind of felt like, oh, if I put this color in here, it will do the thing I want it to do. But in that moment, I was just kind of, it's just very rough. And still, it's still like, I look at it, and I really, really like it still because it's so raw. But anyway, so like I had no purpose for doing it other than getting out of my little rut. And so once I finished them though, and I scanned them, like scan them all together, and because there was an order, because I knew I was doing 20, it was just like, oh, this is a book. Like I'm just so like, my mind does that because I've made so many books up until this point. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to make a book. And so then I came up with a good title, and I think that's what drives me in a lot of things, of just like, and that's my job as a copywriter, just like synthesizing everything and coming up with this little hitter, this line, you know what I mean? And so like it was like, because I was painting pictures of me doing certain things and being certain places, and kind of like scribbling like what I was doing next to him, it kind of felt like a diary. And I'm like, oh, it's like Diary of a Rad Black Woman. Like I love shit like that, like little stupid shit. So that was like, that was fun. And like I feel like everyone on my social media was a part of it too, because I would post it, I would paint it, post it, and just like log off. I wasn't expecting anything. Like I would post it to my story. So everybody was kind of into it, like, what are you gonna do with these? And so once I had like put it together as a book, I think it was just like everybody was really supportive. And so it's just like, excuse me, what's crazy though is like, to this day I just have not stopped painting. Like it just is like, it really took over my whole brain, my whole life. And I think it's like the difference between now and me in high school is just my lived experience. And now I'm kind of like, I'm kind of now seeing it more clearly. Like before, it's just like, oh, I can do this thing, I can finish this assignment, oh, people like it, cool. But now it's like, no, this is everything, everywhere, all at once. It's just, this is writing, this is, I'm like, this is storytelling, like, but in the easiest way possible. And I think I really just, like, my biggest discovery was that there is a difference between the thing that you're good at and the thing that comes easy to you. So like, because I was so hardcore about like writing, because I love like writing so much, I love books, I love movies, But I will watch, like, say I will watch like an interview like of a writer like Stephen King or Toni Morrison, just reading their process, and they're like, I get up at 6 a.m. every day and I write for 6 hours, and I would be like, bitch, okay, I gotta get there. I gotta get to that point where I could do that. And that just was so painful for me. Even to this day, like, even though I'm working at a high level as far as a writer, I wouldn't say that it comes easy to me. But then with painting, I'm like, oh yeah, I can get up at 6 a.m. every day and paint for 6 hours at least. Like, actually, that would be the life I want to live. And that's when it clicked, where I'm like, okay. And I'm incorporating writing into it. If you think about, like, to me, like, the job I do now, I'm matching imagery, visuals with text to create this story. And to me, that's exactly what a painting is, even coming up with the titles. But to me, it's just like being able to tell a story and being able to tell it so succinctly without too many words is just like, I love it. And it comes easy to me. And when the thing comes easy to you, you're going to kind of get better at a rapid pace because you can't put it down, versus like, you know, like, even though I'm good at writing, I have a ceiling, where as far as painting, it's just like, it's just never ending. So yeah, I like literally like turned my kitchen into a studio. I started art school this past spring. I was just like, I don't know, I'm really on this particular path now, and I can see it so clearly that I want to document my journey and just like bring everyone along. But it's still just like, it's still just me as this little girl striving to be good. But now it's just like, that's a part of the story. That's who I am. And how can I use that to, like, you know, create the life I want? I think just being a living artist, and getting to fucking paint every day and do what I want, while also being able to like tell stories. I think that's all I've ever wanted, was to be good, and I guess leave some kind of mark, have my own story in a way. I think that's why I'm so obsessed with stories. It's just like, it's essentially like what a fantasy is. It's just like I'm fantasizing about my own life and what I'm going to be able to do and leave behind. So that's me, Candace, an artist that just figured out she was an artist. So I want to take, first of all, like for this episode 1, I want to do a little studio tour with you. Literally, it's like through this hallway, in my kitchen. Mars is way. So this originally is, and it still is, my kitchen, but the kitchen came with this kind of like dining area. Why you want to be all in the video? So I kind of like took my dining room table out, put it in the living room, and created this studio. So this, like, this huge thing right here, like, look how far back it goes. It goes all the way back there. But I love it. I have a window. But this is like, I just got this in November for like $75. And can you believe I fit this in my little Tesla, like, Model 3? Like, I was so thirsty about it. But I was just looking for like flat file cabinets, and they were so expensive. Like, if you look them up, like, you know, they're a grip of money. But this is like, he was saying it was almost like this thing that people store their maps in. So I was like, okay. So this is where kind of like all my like flat files are, all the paintings I've kind of like done so far. This one was like, oh, I'm getting good at this. This is probably like one of my favorite paintings, a self-portrait. Isn't she lovely? Yeah, and I've been like painting really small recently, just because I can get more detail. But now that I'm getting like learning process, I'm getting way better at Do you need something? I'm getting way better at being able to get that detail in a larger photo. This is some of my poster work that I've done. Let me pull this up a little more. So I made this poster in 2020, and then like just like last year I just painted on it, painted that blue, and then the green eyes for Erykah Badu Green Eyes song. That's one of my faves. But yeah, it's just a lot of my like, this is just a painting. A lot of my stuff from that I've been painting recently. And then so it's 2 drawers. So this is also like prints I would make of some of my paintings when I was doing a lot of like text-based stuff. So that was pretty sick. So I got a lot of stuff, you know? So that's why I'm like happy to have a space to have all my paintings. So it's just like kind of crazy, but like this is my latest painting right here. This is a painting of my mom, which is so funny having that other first painting of her, and now this is another one. But yeah, this is just like, this is a new level for me as far as just like how painterly it is, and just kind of like getting in layers versus just laying one color flat. Is just like going over it, and I just love, like the pants are my favorite, and just going in and seeing a lot more of the color and things. So it's just like, let me step back so you can see, like this is pretty big. It's probably like 3 feet by 4 feet. I should have cleaned up my shoes, but that's life. This is like this painting I did too. I'm just really into girlhood, sentimental things. You'll see like over time. I might like get more in depth about just like what my point of view is. This is what's her name, won the US Open. This is this poster I stole of Carrie Mae Weems. She's probably like one of my top favorite artists. Her and Carrie James Marshall, but I painted it over, and like to me this is just like me in typical fashion in a striped kind of like rugby polo. So I named this Carrie Me Weems. Just shit like that. This is like, this is hard to look at now because now that I've learned how to draw, it's so off, but I still love it. Like even the grass, I remember like opening up Carrie James Marshall book. I'm just like, how do you paint grass? And just almost trying to copy his grass, and it just came out so cool to me. This is Kobe Bryant and Moesha going to prom. But this is like, this is my little studio, but it's also my kitchen. So like just my favorite artist kind of all around. This is like me, literally me. And that's the thing I was talking about earlier as far as just like my personal style and incorporating just like my style into a lot of things, but just overall my kind of lighthearted approach to things. This calendar is Betty Saar, and her daughter is another one of my favorite artists. But oh, this painting, this is one of my favorites. This is a steal from Eve's Bayou. I just love the colors in this. But this is like she's waiting up for her dad to come. So it's just like, you can kind of get the gist of just like, I love just like moments, sentimental moments, even if it's kind of sad. And then I love like playing, like this is oil pastel, but this is just like my friends over like eating cornbread, and it's just this almost childlike way of drawing it. But then of course now I'm just like collecting frames, because now I just want to frame my own pictures, and it's just so wild that I'm just like becoming my mother. Like, but it's really just it just is my environment of just like what I'm drawn to. I love wood now, you know, like this is my little portable my portable easel, so I can carry that around. But yeah, just to just be coming back to frames and framing and loving. Like I even love like matte board and matching up the color. Like sometimes I'll just look at it. You know, I won't even do anything with it, and I'll just like buy an empty frame and I maybe throw my painting in it, and it's just wild that I'm so like I'm following in these particular footsteps that I just had never even thought of. It wasn't even, it's not even intentional, it's just happening. These are my books, my art, I have like art books, and then like that's kind of like coffee table books, but these are my like, I'm really trying to learn some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I need to know. So yeah, I'm gonna back up one more time. See, cause this is my fridge. I don't know, just like being into photography, photos and art. Like I'm really an art girly. But this is the stew. So yeah, sometimes I'll just like, you know, right now I'm painting on the wall and I can paint over it, but I'm probably gonna get a big easel soon. But I don't know, I'm just really happy to have a little space to paint and like to be able to paint big, and like, I don't know, it's just very cool to me. And the shoes are gonna be cleaned up, but like, that's the studio. Isn't it cutie? So yeah, well, I'll do more like sketchbook tours or painting tours, but this is just to kind of show you the stew. Let me back up. Oh, and all these rugs is just like, I feel like every time I go to World Market, I'll get a rug, and then like I'll have it in a space for like 2 months, and then I'm like, ugh, I can't stand it anymore. So literally all of these are just all the rugs I've gotten I can't stand, so I just lay them down. So it's just like, okay, I'm messing up the wall, but let me not mess up the floors, you know what I'm saying? So that's my studio. Oh, paints, my new bestie, supplies, oil pastels, which is probably my like second favorite outside of like acrylic, color pencils, crayons. Oh, and I'll show you what's in my toolbox. That's kind of what I use for school, but I'll do the haul, my Blick haul, and then I'll show you what's in my toolbox. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Oh, all my books, like my whole house is just books. These are some of my sketchbooks. Carrie James Marshall, probably my #1 favorite artist. Sketchbooks. Oh, this is a sketchbook I got from Paris. I'm so cool. You know, I like that it has different kind of paper textures. I think this is just a journal, yeah, with writing. I love this book. It has the texture kind of like paper bag, paper in it. Where's all my stuff? That's kind of cool. Yeah, man. This is a Rolly, not a stopwatch. Shit don't ever stop. My little art books. I love these little things because I love quotes. I love little quick little things. Pharrell and probably the Andy Warhol has like the best quotes to me that are just so good. So good. This is my like signature blue. I named it like round midnight. My little gal bell. See, this is my one of the first, literally #1 first paintings. I just love so much. The color's so good. The basketball's so wonky. Yeah, that's the studio. It's kind of dirty, but it's okay. That's okay. Yeah, man. Fuck with me though. Peace. Thank you for watching all the way to this part. I just feel like vlogs should be long. or what are we doing here, you know? So I don't know how long this is going to be, but I'm trying to like, I like long form content. Like I'm not a TikTok girly. I'm not even really like, I'm just not into digestible content. I want to sit and kind of be in stuff and like talk and yap. So hopefully most of my vlogs will be this long and a little more in depth. And I just want to talk more about like art shit, like ideas, books I have, movies I just saw. I just feel like everything is now like I'm firing on all cylinders. So everything's connecting and like I'm just inspired by so many things, and like that's what I want this to be. It's just like my journey of even like beginning to think like an artist. Ooh, that's kind of a title or a name. Why is my brain like that? I bet it's a book already. Let's see if that's the title of this, Think Like an Artist. But this is the journey, and I'm excited, and I don't even care what comes from it. I just love that I discovered this, and like it's love that it's taken over my whole life. So thanks for watching. Um, Subscribe. It's gonna be very like lifestyle too. Like it's very lifestyle blog. Because everything that I do is to me my artistic expression. There could be a vlog where I'm like showing you the things I got from the flea market, the art that I got from the flea market, or like the meal I learned to make, or like me putting in two strand twists. Like to me, it's all like the way I express myself. I'm discovering like that's my art. So hopefully you stick around or just keep checking in. But like, don't wait till I get big to be trying to be like. No, I'm just kidding. There is no big. It's just